I told you yesterday that President Barack Obama signed a bill on Friday authorizing $170 million for the problem of the lead-tainted drinking water in Flint, Michigan. The water there has been tainted by lead for roughly 3 years. As much as the $170 million will help, even that isn't going to be enough to replace all of the lead-tainted piping that needs to be replaced. Well, Republicans, I'm sure, are getting behind helping to figure out what went on there, right? Right? Wrong. Republicans in the House have quietly closed a nearly year-long investigation into this disaster. They never received really important information from the Republican governor of Michigan, Rick Snyder. And instead they said, oh, you know what we'll do? We'll blame the EPA. On Friday, just hours after the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, Maryland's Congressman Elijah Cummings, called for a subpoena of the Republican governor of Michigan, who we know at this point appointed the emergency manager who decided to switch Flint's water supply. We heard from Congressman Jason Chaffetz that the congressional investigation is over. And instead, we are going to blame Michigan's Department of Environmental Quality as well as the state EPA. Now, Democrats are saying, wait a second. Jason Chaffetz is the guy who was all over investigating what we now know to be the Planned Parenthood hoax. He was all over investigating Hillary Clinton and the Benghazi conspiracy theory. He was all over investigating the IRS non-scandal that we determined was not actually unfairly scrutinizing right-wing nonprofits. This is the investigator in chief. And now Chaffetz, Pat, shuts this whole thing down and says, let's just blame the EPA. How convenient, by the way, when you have an administration coming in that fundamentally thinks the EPA is superfluous and should have less power.
It's almost like you're suggesting that there's a political angle to his investigations. It's interesting, too, when you watch these testimonies, because you have the Democrats blaming Rick Snyder and the Michigan government, and then you have the Republicans blaming the EPA. But who's really responsible here? It's pretty obvious.
It's very obvious, and we also know that 15 past and current members of Rick Snyder's administration refused requests to even talk to the committee before Jason Chaffetz shut it down. The EPA makes a really attractive scapegoat for the right. If you're trying to cast doubt into the value of the EPA, into the legitimacy of the EPA, this is now the paradigm. And once again, and I know that we're saying this a lot lately, lead-tainted water that lasts 3 years should not be a partisan issue. We're talking about water. Whether you think climate change is impacted by human activities on Earth or not, the people who made decisions that prevented clean drinking water from being available need to be held accountable. And this is one of those cases where this is a state issue is being brought up. Air pollution, water problems, these are not issues controlled by imaginary state lines. This reminds me of the smoking area on airplanes. Yes. We've talked about this before. I remember being younger where on flights to Argentina, on international flights, you could still smoke on planes. And I remember thinking, it's a completely enclosed place. What does it mean that we have a smoking section? And in the same way, air pollution and climate change and groundwater tainting and all of this stuff, it does not respect state lines. And the idea that this is merely a state issue is just so ridiculous.
Yeah, these are things that are considered commons. And it goes even further than that. It's not just the lines between countries. I mean, this is a concern to the entire world.
Absolutely. No, not just lines between states, but rather a concern to the entire world. When we talk about radiation coming across the Pacific Ocean to the west coast of the United States, it is so abundantly clear that if we continue with this, hey, we've got lines on the map separating us from other countries. There's lines on the map separating Michigan from other states. We're going downhill quickly, and we're already seeing that. Make sure you discuss this or any other stories on our Reddit discussion forum, davidpakman.com/Reddit, REDDIT. Back after this. Warby Parker is offering a free 5-day home try-on to give you the opportunity to check out their glasses. I personally wear Warby Parker glasses when I'm not wearing my contact lenses, and I also started with one of these free at-home try-ons of 5 pairs of glasses. You can get your free home try-on and support the David Pakman Show at warbyparkertrial.com/TDPS.
I don't really like going into glasses stores and trying on glasses while the salesperson sort of hovers over me. And I like more than 30 seconds to actually figure out whether I like the glasses. So with the Warby Parker home try-on, I was able to pick 5 pairs that I liked, put them on in the comfort of my own home, pick the one I like the most, and then Warby Parker put my prescription lenses in there for me. A lot of people don't know that the eyeglass industry is controlled by just a few big corporations that keep prices very high, like $300 for prescription glasses high, which is just insane. Warby Parker glasses start at $95. That's what mine cost. And for every pair of glasses sold, Warby Parker distributes a pair of glasses to someone in need. You can try 5 pairs and see what you like. Check out the at-home trial and support our show by going to warbyparker.com/TDPS. It costs nothing.